What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and this is Big Games B.S, part of Den Media Group, presented by MFTK Foundation. MFTK Foundation is the go-to website for all things MFTK related. Golf tournament coming up soon, book bag drives, high school 7v7 tournaments, all kinds of different things going on. The biggest thing that we just got done was the 7v7, which got a chance to do some really, really good things. We were ranked the number 11 organization, number 12 organization in the state of Florida. Not bad for year one. We had a lot of chokes. My 12s made it to the finals in 4 tournaments. We choked in 2 of them. So we had 6 really strong tournament performances out of, I believe, the 8 or 9 that we did. I'm trying to think where we didn't have a good showing. Maybe Battle Miami, our first one, but we ended up losing to Tampa Flex, and that was one of the teams that we went back and forth with all year. But we had some really good, like I said, we had 2 exits that didn't make sense. All of them were pretty strong. My 14U fought, even though we had some interesting dynamics, which is funny. I can never fault. Like, there was a man apologized to me that called me some, like, it was wild. It was but I could never fault a man who, I may not, he apologized. He didn't have to apologize. So I give him his props for that. But that kind of broke up my 14U. But my 14U next year is basically half of my 12U, and it should be special the next couple years. My 14U and my 15U should be really, really good, really strong. The youth in the future is bright with the org, as long as we continue to pursue and push the right things. But obviously, we got the best in the world, Bryson Wright. That's a part of our organization, and he gets to do all kinds of other different things. Spring football started last week. We're in a week 2. Next week, we will be streaming the Mandarin Spring game versus Trinity Christian. A lot of MFTK influence going through that game. We have a good matchup that should be highlighted in Sakari versus Bryson Wright, as well as you got Knox Annis, who's committed to the University of Miami, Shaquez Foster with multiple G5 offers. A lot of different talent on that field that we'll be streaming next Thursday. Not this coming Thursday, next Thursday. Also have state championship for lacrosse this week. I'll be leaving on Wednesday, so our show on Wednesday will have to be in the afternoon. We play Thursday at noon against the Benjamin School down south. Should be a good game. Good draw for us. We that's a team that we could really beat. We didn't want to see the St. Andrews or anything of that world, but we get into the state championship if we win that game. So I'll be gone for 4 to 5 days. It all depends upon how Thursday works. But if we win Thursday at 12, I will be hanging out in Naples, Florida for quite a bit of time. If we lose, I'll be right back and in time for Mother's Day. But outside of that, we got a good show ahead of us. Let's start this show off the same way we start our show off each and every day, with a word of
You already know what time it is, dog. Thank you, God, for another day. Thank you, God, for another day. Thank you, God. God is great. All the time. All the time. Nobody wanna thank you, God. Thank you, God. Go.
All right, Jaden, what we got?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Big Games BS here on Monday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you all for any of my Star Wars fans out there. But this is your first time at the show, welcome. And if you're wondering why it's called Big Games BS, it's because we bring the good, the bad, and the BS of the sports world, particularly football, to your screens, eyes, and ears. I'm going to kick off our MFTK segment, showing us some love to golf before discussing a recent high school football player who committed. Then we have some college news ranging from FSU until onto, multiple conferences, as well as teams and a specific quarterback as well. We'll be touching up on before we get into the NFL. Got some Jaguars news, and then we have some news post NFL draft. We have some more stats and information about some of the rookies and of also teams as well as they try to get in the swing of things as OTAs and mini camp starts to ramp up in the summer. Then we have our Big Games BS section where we bring the scope of the conversation outside of the typical sports world. For this one, have a food review segment, OG Wyland segment. Then we have a RIP to discuss. Can't wait to get to our BS or busting food review segment. But before we get to that point, we got to talk about golf first.
Yeah, we got this going on. I think we just picked up our first sponsor for it. Still pushing a lot of other different things. Raymond James is on board. Just need golfers. That's the most important thing. We're almost a month away. Getting a little nervous, getting a little scary, but I have some meetings today about the golf tournament. So hopefully we'll continue to push it, and it'll be a successful event that will spearhead a lot of the fundraising goals that we have for the book bag drives that will begin the middle of July. So here for it. Cannot wait to have it. Just a lot of things that we want to do. And I think we have about 100 golfers that we have left that we can sign up. So that's the goal, is to make sure we push this out properly.
James, FSU fans thought we had a commit in the bag. And if you guys are not familiar with who I'm referring to, that is 4-star QB Wonderful, aka Champ Mons the Fourth, out of Vero Beach, Florida. He had the Seminoles on his final list of schools, along with Ohio State and ultimately the team he ended up choosing, which was Marcus Freeman's Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, he did announce this on Pat McAfee, James, very big Disney ESPN platform, but did you have a feeling that he was going to choose Notre Dame over the Seminoles?
Yeah, they basically had already kind of trended him there. This is a kind of a spite because the young man, Florida State has been on him really heavy, really, really heavy. One of the first to offer him one of the things, and just can't buy a win right now. And it looks like a bad thing. He's a 3-star on just 247, the number 25th overall quarterback prospect for the class of 2027. He's a 4-star in the composite, being ranked the 20th overall quarterback, the 24th prospect. I'm sure they're gonna still keep recruiting him. Before I get like overly concerned, not a hater or anything. I just want to know. I don't know enough about him. I know he's ranked high, right, and that's supposed to mean something. But or ranked decently. He's a 3-star. But Vero Beach football. Okay, so they're pretty good. I'm trying to find their record. They're 14-1. Damn. Yeah, that's damn good. 14-1, 3-0 in district. Man, they beat the shit out of Coco, which is impressive. Beat the hell out of Booker T. Washington, beat the hell out of Rockledge, who we played. You know his one loss? Lake Mary in the state championship game when Lake Mary won on the last play. That where they got stopped and then the guy pitched the ball to somebody and he ran in the pouring down rain. But Vero Beach was up. So like, okay, well, I mean, he's a pretty, again, that's a solid in-state guy, solid ball player. Remember, let me take you back let's go back in the day, back in time. And this is why I always told people, it's okay to say tags suck. But let's not say tags sucked and then make everything about the next person just so great and glowing because it's impossible to live up to that expectation. So Tag never got a quarterback in his brief time at Florida State. He actually did have one committed. He had Jeff Sims. But he didn't have one in his incoming class. Now, that was due to him having to play a lot of catch up because everybody forgets that Jimbo stopped recruiting. He had Sam Howell the second go round, but then when his coach left, which he technically got rid of him, Sam Howell left as well. And so he lost his flagship quarterback. He had Jeff Sims, but then Jeff Sims decommitted once he met with Mike Norvell. And everybody praised Mike Norvell for getting 2 quarterbacks in that class, one of which was the little brother of Mr. Irrelevant, which is one of the better quarterbacks right now. A guy with the San Francisco 49ers. His little brother from out of Arizona. And I remember, Brock is the one that was Chubba Purdy is the little brother. And what people don't remember is Denny looking at the highlight film and being so unimpressed. And Denny brought up one of the greatest moments in radio history, one of the most real moments in radio history. And it was not discriminatory, it was a descriptor. He noticed at watching the highlight film that everybody that Chubba Purdy was carving up, there was not a single black person in that highlight film. And Denny, a Caucasian American, stated, I don't trust a quarterback who has to throw against just white people. And it was fair because when you look at college football, we talk about it. We see it now. It's called milk check. If you're throwing against a bunch of milk checks, it's not helping you. And then they brought in Tate Rodemaker, who was the second quarterback for University of South Florida, who at times I question if Tate even liked Florida State. That's how bad he played. Now, he did do some things in that 13-0 season where, I think it was a 13. No, it wasn't a 13-0 season. It was the 10-3 season where he did come off. He did come in and he beat Louisville on the road after an injury to Jordan Travis. But there were signs. Like, Mike hasn't had the success at quarterback. He has not brought in a high school quarterback that he has seen develop through the process. The only quarterback that has been successful with Mike Norvell was actually a Willie Taggart brought in quarterback and Jordan Travis. And he wasn't even recruited. So the knock that people have for Mike Norvell is, can he bring in a quarterback? And the verdict is still out. I can understand why people are having these things. Because again, this isn't a critique of Mike Norvell, the man. It's just a critique of he just doesn't have a great track record right now. Even in bringing him into the portal. He brought DJ Lagway in. Bad. You brought in Thomas Castellanos, who is now a wide receiver. Even though I personally think a couple of better decisions here or there, he would have been an average quarterback in Florida State history. No real high school guys. And you're not in a position to where you can even truly develop a guy. A quarterback coming into Florida State now would have to have faith in Florida State. And that Mike Norvell would be the quarterback, be the coach for 2 years, which is a very tough road to hoe at this juncture, because if Florida State does not win 8 games, one would believe that Florida State might be making the decision to move forward with getting a new coach. So where Wonderful made a decision is he knows he's going to Notre Dame. He knows he's probably going to get a chance to develop at Notre Dame because they don't push people into the transfer portal as often as everybody else because it is very difficult to even get into Notre Dame. They don't push people into it, and they don't take very many out of it. They do take some. I know one, Chris Mitchell. Nick is the brother, but Chris Mitchell went there. Now he's coaching at Notre Dame. But it's very difficult to be able to do these different things, man. But congrats to this kid. And also, we had last Friday. Every Friday, I mean, it seems like we're getting a commitment from somebody somewhere. You had the young man from Louisiana commit to the University of Alabama. Another kid that had Florida State on his radar that Florida State missed on, that Florida State has ties to if Florida State talked to certain people. And it is cool to have Pat McAfee. It just makes me further keep wanting to press Toby. I got to build this channel because this time next year, we have the opportunity to make a hellacious announcement. And we get a chance to do all of those different cool things. And we'll have like a whole announcement ceremony, and it's going to be good. It's going to be a great 30-minute. It's going to be my greatest produced 30-minute sketch of all time. So we have commercials. We're going to have all kinds of shit. Pretty much, if things remain, it'll be a battle. It'll be a battle promo clip. But congratulations to that young man.
Sorry about that. Did not mean to cut you off, but you did touch a lot on FSU, and James, they got somebody from FSU going pretty high in next year's big board according to PFF. So according to Pro Football Focus, this is their 2027 wide receiver big board. So they have Jeremiah Smith as the number 1 ranked wide receiver in the overall rank. They got him number 1 out of every position. Got Kim Coleman at 12. Got Ryan Coleman Williams, formerly known as Ryan Williams, at 15. KJ Duff. And the reason why I want to kick off this FSU segment, James, they got Deuce Robinson at 37. PFF has Deuce as a day 2 guy, James. So what I was going to ask you based off PFF post right here is, what can Deuce Robinson do in this season to stay right where he's at, or to propel into day 1 and to keep that 1,000-yard season at FSU going?
If he's able to show that he's more than just a 50-50 ball guy, he'll be fine. I mean, we saw we've seen him before. He's kind of a mix between Keon and my guy that's with the Eagles,
Johnny Wilson.
Yeah, Johnny Wilson. He's Johnny Wilson with a little bit more range. But if he's able to run the post, he's able to run your digs. He's able to show you that he's a big target that's able to run better routes, that's able to do things. You'll see him get drafted into that first round because, again, he has elite hands. I mean, not catching, but size. His size is the measurable, and if he shows any semblance of speed and then consistency in running the routes. And Florida State wins. Even if Florida State goes 5-7, they're going to be able to say he's part of the reason why they at least won their 5 games. So you're going to find games where he's going to be able to dominate. And that's what he has to really do. That's what Johnny did. That's what Keon did. They didn't dominate every game, but there were games where they were truly dominant. Going back to Johnny Wilson with the Oklahoma game in the bowl game. Johnny was very dominant against Oklahoma in that bowl game. Now, mind you, Oklahoma was barely above 500, and the victory doesn't seem as great as it did in the past. And shoot, people had moments like, that running back we brought in from Oklahoma carved our asses up that game. But Johnny, if Deuce is able to ball against SMU, if Deuce is able to ball against Alabama again, if Deuce is able to do some things, and you will see him be able to get the attention of the NFL. But right now, we all know who the number one wide receiver is in the number one overall prospect, even though he might not be the first overall pick, which I believe he should be. But we all know that Jeremiah Smith is that guy. Everybody else kind of falls up under that. But there is a theme to this list. Clearly, you want to be we want your last name to be Coleman. We saw Ryan Williams go and change his name to hyphenated, even though I don't like men with two last names. I think he would be better if he just adopted the Coleman last name. But he added it into it, and it did increase his stock, as we can see per this Pro Football Focus 2027 big board.
James, we have some footage. We have footage of TC, aka Thomas Castellanos, the former QB1 at FSU, training with Gold Feet Certified, aka Gold Feet Global, is a trainer that has a lot of high value clients. And James, we had posted the post about Thomas Castellanos getting invited to those rookie camps and going to those rookie camps as a wide receiver. And it looks like we got some footage courtesy of Thomas and Gold Feet right here that I want to play for everybody on the stream if they didn't see it already. So I'm going to press play for you guys and let's see this video. Make sure everything's good on my end. Perfect.
Nice, good job. What?
Way better. Good job, what? Go straight there. Back up. Yes, sir. Good job, what?
Get up there. Good.
Nice. Good job, what? Go. Better. Just get flat.
Right. Right. Left. Right. Nice, good job. Nice, good job. Nice, good job. Get it off. Harder. Yep. Yes, sir. Come on. Nice. Good.
Yes.
You know the aggravating thing about all of this is that he could actually be a really good wide receiver. And I really wish we can find just the clips about him, like the energy that was spent on I refuse to be a wide receiver. I'm going to prove to everyone that I'm a quarterback. The sheer energy, if you would have just listened, you could be in a better position. Because now look at how hard he's working in those clips. Imagine if he would have done that 3 years ago. Like, where would you be if you would have fought against that? Because again, it wasn't so much that people were saying you were pie then. It was they were saying you're not you can't see over the line, my guy. We need you to go play something that's going to be conducive to your strengths. You're explosive. And he's probably about 5'10". It's a lot of wide receivers play quarterback, and just because you did it in high school, where let's be real, if a high school has one power forward prospect, that's a big deal. If you would have just taking the advice and maybe not gone to 3 schools, where would your life be at right now? And that's all people are saying. Like, that's the only thing. I mean, listen, it's your life, but like, imagine where it would be at right now. You probably have a little bit more guaranteed money. I hope he makes the squad though, but we'll see.
So the real question is, are you taking Castellanos or are you taking Restrepo as your slot receiver, James?
I'm gonna take Restrepo. Restrepo has experience playing the position. He just wasn't as good as everybody thought he was. It's crazy though that he has I really thought he like got in a fight at the Senior Bowl. I didn't realize that was like just how his chin looked. But Restrepo has more experience playing wide receiver. So that would make him a better receiver. Castellanos may be more explosive, but when you're fighting for the bottom of a roster spot, I mean, you got to take the guys that know the plays and the guys that can make things happen. So
we got some good news coming from FSU. So for all of the FSU fans out there wondering how Ethan Pritchard is doing, we have this photo. We have actually 2 things we wanted to show you guys. The first one is this photo right here, courtesy of War Chant from a little bit ago at FSU's Pro Day. This was around March 27th, 2026. And Ethan actually popped out to FSU's Pro Day. You can see him right there on the walker, showing the guys that everybody loved, getting some love back. So that was great to see him there. And it was also great to see him walk across that stage because Coach Norvell presented Ethan Pritchard with the Doc Falls Rise Above Adversity Award at the Golden Knoll Awards on April 28th. And we actually got a quick clip for you guys of him getting caught up, walking across that stage in an auditorium full of people right here. So we're going to share this with you guys and let's enjoy the video.
Because of this family he gets to be a part of. So it's my honor to be able to recognize, right, our Dog Falls award winner, right, Ethan Pritchard.
So that's a Ruby Diamond. It looks good. They had athletic trainer. The black guy with the bald head, real good athletic trainer.
I just want to say I appreciate everybody. Keep me in y'all prayers. I appreciate my family, my daddy right there. That's the man with the plan. He ain't never leave my side. But man, yeah, just keep me in y'all prayers, man.
Getting
and I
bigger
appreciate
too,
all
man.
the love. And as always, go Noles.
Real good football player. Coached 2 games against him at Seminole. We in the playoffs. Both times we lost. The first game. Shouldn't have lost that. I think we got robbed, and then we beat him the second game. He was a safety at first, and then shifted to linebacker. Really good open field tackler. Hopefully, everything he gets he's able to. I would love to see him be able to play on the field. He used to be such an inspirational story. So I'm hoping the best for that young man.
Wishing nothing but an even speedier recovery for Mr. Pritchard, and sending just continued shout outs to him and his family. Definitely shows you what a strong family looks like for sure, going through this wild time for sure. So just sending continued love and support that way for sure. Now, James, before we dive into the NFL, college, or more specifically, the NCAA has been making headlines, and Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports made sure to report on it because we got more information on that 5 year age based eligibility concept that has been breaking the sports world. So, we actually got a chart right here, courtesy of Ross. We're going to look and break down, and I'm gonna ask you questions on the rules and how things will be looking forward. So right here we have a list of 2 pages, if I'm not mistaken, and we're going to break down the first one right here. So the following are potential implementation scenarios for the age-based collegiate eligibility model: student athlete cohort, student athletes who enrolled full-time at any collegiate institute prior to the 2026-2027 academic year. Example: 2 year international or division 2 or 3. So student athletes with eligibility remaining, time left in their period of eligibility, and seasons of competition remaining. Either the current rules or new age-based model, whichever is most beneficial. Any waivers based on the current legislation must be submitted no later than July 31st, 2026, and will not be available for competition or extenuating circumstances occurring beyond the 25-26 academic year. Waivers to establish eligibility for the 27-28 year and beyond will not be prioritized or actively reviewed by staff. So, student athletes who exhausted eligibility in 2025 to 2026 this past season, no time left in their period of eligibility and no seasons of competition remaining. Current rules no longer eligible. They do not have that 5 year age base. That makes sense. And for the students who use final season of competition during 25-26, but have time remaining in their period of eligibility, same rules. Current rules no longer eligible. So for the 26-27 academic year, initial full-time enrollees at any college, collegiate institution, the spring 2026 high school graduates who enroll full-time in fall 2026 will have the age-based model. The age-based model is that 5 year model. Prospective student athletes who graduated prior to spring 2026 and are subject to delayed enrollment conditions. So the eligibility will be evaluated by the NCAA Eligibility Center during the certification process, which occurs prior to enrollment. The center would apply either the current delayed enrollment rules or the age-based models, whichever is more beneficial to the prospective student athlete to determine that eligibility. Prospective students who graduated from high school prior to spring 2026 and are not subject to delayed enrollment would get that age-based model. 5 year window would begin upon initial full-time enrollment in fall 26, spring 27. In the spring 2027 high school graduates who enroll full-time directly after high school graduation, age base. Spring 2026 high school graduates in sports other than tennis, including skiing and men's ice hockey, who delay college enrollment for 1 year, or in tennis who delay college enrollment for 6 months, regardless of whether student athlete competes during the delay. Age base applies, however, would receive the benefit of a 1 year grace period in sports other than tennis, or the 6 month grace period in tennis. And the prospective student athletes who graduated prior to 26 and are subject to delayed enrollment conditions, again, the eligibility would be evaluated by the eligibility center, which would apply either the current delayed enrollment rules or the age-based model, whichever is beneficial. So, James, what do you think of this new 5 year age-based model that is looking like will kick off in the 2026-2027 academic year, and the rules about the people who may have become intertwined in this new era, but those rules don't apply to them.
I just think a lot of times people make changes and then mess up because I'm with it. The tight end that's playing 10 years, that's absolutely inexcusable. But playing 6 to 7 years, I played with some guys in my era who played 6 years. David Castillo played 6 years. I believe Stanford Samuels played 6 years. And it wasn't because they just like school. A red shirt is there because most people's bodies are not ready to handle the rigors of college football. So you need a year to truly be able to develop. And what they did was they actually made it better to where you got 4 games. When I played, if you played after the 4th game, your red shirt was broken. So, but to give them 4 games, you can space those out over time. You can get a kid adequately prepared by letting them see what it's like to be able to play on a collegiate level, as well as let their bodies develop and redshirt. You had your med red. So if you tore your ACL early in the season, you have no control over that. So right there, that gives you 6 years. A guy who could have done that, almost did that, was Anquan Bolden. And if you got another injury, you could apply for a medical hardship. But 5 years to play 5 and it's just hard line, I don't think that. I think that doesn't account for life to happen. I think if they just went back to the way the system was, it would work. Enforce APR. Enforce you pay penalties for kids who transfer out too much. There are ways you could go about doing things that make it to where it's truly beneficial to everybody that is involved, to where it's not people who are abusing it. It's kind of one of those things where we are overcorrecting the system so much because of a few people who abuse the system. It's like, I'm not going to hold you. Trannies playing sports doesn't bother me. You know why? Because it's only like 1 to 3 that we're talking about. And they're not talking about anything crazy. Like, LeBron is not about to retire from the NBA to go dominate the WNBA. So, that's kind of my thing. Or am I missing it? Does it eliminate medical red shirts, Jaden? Or did I miss that?
Gonna blow it back up for you guys right quick. But from what it seems like for your question, I think it's more so like you mentioned earlier with having that hard cap on that 5-year age limit. And with terms of redshirting and especially the medical red shirts, I'm not too sure if it still falls under that 5-year hard cap, but I'll make sure to research it right now while we continue on with this topic, or if you want to keep continuing with this topic or moving on, but I'll look it up right quick for you. But yeah, especially with the medical redshirt, that's something that a lot of players have gone through the redshirting process, and this definitely would get affected with this 5-year new age requirement. And it looks like it essentially would eliminate traditional medical hardship waivers at the moment. So it looks like you were right, and it looks like it's getting rid of something that a lot of players participated in during their college careers. James, You had teammates that were 5-6 year players that needed it, like you said, were awarded sometimes even 2 medical redshirt seasons, and now that's just going to be a thing of the past for now.
Yeah, I think that's just, again, overcorrection. And just like, I wonder, like, one of the things one of my friends told me, who's an attorney that's going to oversee some of these cases here in the state of Florida, is that anytime these things are negotiated or discussed without athlete representation, like, the whole purpose of having rules that govern you is that it has to be agreed upon, in particular agreed upon with the people who are influenced or under the guise of these protections. And I don't see how that protects the student athlete. But I really think we're moving toward a world where none of this matters. Montre put up there, some of the players were abusing the rule. I'd argue that the players weren't abusing the rule. The schools were abusing the rule. Because it's a very easy way to not take a 10th year senior. Don't take a 10th year senior. You don't have to take these guys if you're opposed to it. But I'll say, I don't think it's not a fucking epidemic. There's not a lot of people doing it. Because even in the current situation, it removes a lot of this from you. But like, the fact that even some of these guys are still playing after injury after injury after injury speaks to something. Like, you can't, it's not like these guys just kept playing because the schools let them. Like, there has to be a reason for you to apply for the hardship. Now, what they did do, like, now when they're eliminating junior college from 2 years, okay. But even then, that still only gives you 6 years. Because it makes for, it's too much correction. That's my whole thing. It's too much correction.
From some more research, though, it looks like if you go to BYU, that's one of the only exceptions to that 5-year rule.
Because they're going to make you do your 2-year pilgrimage or whatever it is.
Yep. So if you have any religious things or pregnancies, those are some of the things, or some of the few, if any, circumstances that would alter that strict 5-year rule. But yeah, just like James mentioned, no more of that traditional redshirting process that did add a lot to college football, like James mentioned. But we're going to keep you guys updated on how that will transpire in the news around this, because it is a new concept that will get started off in here pretty soon. So we're going to keep you guys updated with that. And it looks like one of the P4 conferences had a great year. That's none other than the Big Ten. Big Ten did win the college football championship, with Indiana taking the crown. But let's take a look at this post courtesy of Ross again. So the Big Ten distributes a record $1.37 billion in revenue, or $72 million per school, though its newest members, Washington and Oregon, received a reduced share. Makes sense. They weren't here as long as the other Big Ten squads. But James, the Big Ten, one of, if not the not, best conferences in college football. But they hit a new record, $1.37 billion in distributed revenue. That's a crazy number.
Rutgers Athletics was $68 million in the hole. Now they just got this check, and now they're $4 million in the green. Capitalism is working. Like, they're doing their thing, man. Like, say what you want to say. Like, the sport that everybody is saying NIL ruined the sport, but it's making more money than it's ever made. just sometimes we just really love propaganda and not looking at the facts of what actually is happening. It's unfortunate.
We have more P4 talk, James. This time we're going from one big to another, Big 10 to the Big 12, and we're going from big money to even bigger money, bigger dollars, because Big 12 lands a private capital deal with Redbird Capital. It marks the first such arrangement from a major NCAA conference. Schools have a choice to opt in for 30 million, around 30 million in capital, and league gets at least a 12.5 million capital infusion as part of the strategic partnership, according to Ross Dillinger. He's been on a roll with this, and we got some news from this ESPN article as well. So the Big 12 approved this 5-year agreement with Redbird Capital Partners, also becoming the first conference in major college sports to strike a league-wide private capital deal. The strategic partnership with Redbird Capital includes Weatherford Capital and was ratified by Big 12 presidents and chancellors around the April 21st, 22nd mark. The three-pronged partnership is designed to grow revenue for the league at a time when some schools are strapped for cash and vying to better position themselves for the next iteration of college sports. Redbird will provide the Big 12 with that 12.5 million capital infusion and help create more commercial revenue for the conference. The league's 16 schools also will have access to up to $30 million each, a line of credit that would have to be paid back with a double-digit interest rate over time. It's unclear how many schools would consider taking that 30 million, the people said, but that is a lot of money that can boost payouts in football and men's basketball and potentially compete with the Big 10 as well. Redbird is the second biggest shareholder of Paramount, which owns CBS and is working to acquire TNT, aka they have a lot of money, and that could help create additional television partners for the Big 12 during its next negotiating window. The league's current broadcast deal expires in 2031, and media rights deals for major conferences account for a majority of the revenue distributed to its members, so they go hand in hand as well. We talked about Utah, a Big 12 member, becoming the first school to land a private equity deal when it sided with Otro Capital, and the Big 10 negotiated with UC Investments for months before the deal fell apart because of opposition from Michigan and USC. And also the SEC has been working with investment banker Goldman Sachs to explore potential partnerships despite pushback from league presidents and chancellors. Looks like the Big 12 is biting the bullet and becoming the first major conference in college sports to have that private capital deal. James, it looks like they're bolder than the SEC, than the Big 10, taking that step, and it looks like that boldness paid off because each school gets a $30 million line of credit. Do you think this is a smart move by the Big 12, especially like what this article said, in this ever-growing college football landscape?
When you look at what schools did to position themselves to be able to become top programs in a short amount of time, I'll be like Texas Tech being one of the examples. Texas Tech enhanced what they were doing by paying for rosters and got better, like very, very fast. We're in the college football playoff. If you get 30 million and you're able to, even if you don't put the full 30, but like let's say you continue to put more and more of your resources in there as college football Pangea starts to form shape, you can obviously increase the level of play, but you can also go and attract other schools to be able to come to the Big 12, because there's going to have to be another conference that's going to have to break down. And now you have schools like UCF that can go and make a big push because they're in fertile recruiting grounds, and now they can go make that money. Imagine a UCF being able to outspend a Florida State, Florida, and be able to go toe-to-toe with Miami, and how quick that can make them do it. And it's in Orlando. It's in a lot of other different places. It's fun. you can make more. You can make a flip. It's the people who are college football in America has never ever been just ran by people who obey the rules. Like if you're sitting here, oh, it's going to be a salary cap of $20 million. If a school was already spending $20 million, and now the House settlement gives them $20 million to spend, they're going to spend $40 million now. There is no salary cap until you actually make employees. You can only pay so much money to so many different people, especially, and then eventually coaching will come into play. Miami doesn't have better coaching than anybody. They have better players at certain positions, but they don't have better coaching than anybody. And any Miami fan who tells you that, go look at their Twitter. Unless it's Terminator X. You'll have them bitching about Mario's play calling. You'll have them bitching about all of this other stuff. So, Jacob, my boy, stop it. And again, I know because I have kids there. I know what the checks that are written. Just saying. That's all I'm saying. But if you do have 30 million that's coming, then it's great. It is a thing where college football is going to shift. It always has been, but it's going to make a quicker shift to the haves and the have-nots. Everybody, all 130 something teams in the NCAA do not have an opportunity to compete for a college football playoff spot or compete for a national championship. There is and always has been only about 40 teams that have a legitimate shot, and even those guys aren't fully capable toward the end.
I have a quick question for you. Now, if somebody used what you just said as a piece of evidence for expanding the college football playoff because the gap between the haves and have-nots are going to get wider. So what if we had a opportunity to showcase more of the talent because it wouldn't be as much if we have 12 teams, or the pool would be smaller? Would it be worth it expanding the college football playoff at that point just to see more people?
Change the format.
Okay, gotcha.
You would have to ditch the conference model. Because what I don't want to see is I don't want to see a bunch of 5-loss teams in there. Like I don't want to see, like if you couldn't beat up the SEC, then I don't want to see you. Because styles make fights. There's regionality that comes into playing football. Now, if you put it into a situation where it was like, let's say you just had the Power Four, right? And you had the ACC, the Big 12, like you had 9 games in conference, or you had 8 games in conference and 4 games that you had, or some combination of, I don't even know how to make it work. But you had the ACC has to play a team from the Big 10. The SEC has to play teams from the Big 12. You got to play at least 2 teams from the other conferences. I would feel more comfortable with that. But we don't know. Like, right, is Vanderbilt really better than anybody in the Big 10? I don't know. But if I actually got a chance to see them play somebody else that was comparable, then I would know. Because eventually you get a situation where maybe there is some advantages. Maybe Miami did have an advantage over other schools because their schedule during the regular season wasn't as competitive as others. I can admit that. But it did get them into a situation, and they won the games when it mattered. They beat Ohio State, a team that was supposed to be from one of the better conferences. Head-to-head, they won. But what if I would have seen something different in the regular season? Miami's just they lost 2 games during the regular season, so I don't mind that. Or was it 3 games? No, they lost 2 games. I don't remember off the top of my head, but like I don't mind that one as much. But like what I also don't like is because again, what is a conference value? If Duke wins the conference, Duke should have a buy-in. They did actually. You know what? Miami played Texas A&M. I have to give them. No, they played Notre Dame. They played Notre Dame and Texas A&M. I have to give them props for that. They like if I see actually now that I think about it, even though they lost to some of those games, if I see they lost to some opponents that weren't good, if I see those things, I have to give them more credence over somebody else. I got to give them more. Alabama played outside of conference and lost to a team that was below 500. So like I don't want to hear conference superiority if you're not going out, if you're not venturing outside of your conference. That's the only way I want to see more conference games. Because all it's going to do is say, if we expand it, instead of having 4 SEC teams and 4 Big Ten teams, we're going to have 6. We're going to have 7. And they're going to argue more. And I don't want to see Kentucky in the fucking college football playoff.
We have some portal news coming from Chris Vanini. Hopefully I said that right. If you're watching, Chris, did not mean to butcher that last name. But he said the vast majority of FBS players who entered the portal find a new home. Last year, of the 3,264 FBS scholarship players who entered the portal, 85%, 2,762, transferred and received aid at their next school. 12% remained active in the portal, 399, and 3%, 103 players, transferred to a new school and did not receive aid. The players who remained active in the portal either returned to school or stopped playing football. If that regards that 12%. That 85% that represents an increase from the 81% of transfers who received aid at their new schools in the 2024 cycle and the 77% who did so in 2023. So it looks like that for the people who enter the transfer portal, the chances of you transferring and receiving aid at their next school have actually increased from 77% to 85% in the past 2 years. So this year, close to 76%, 2,556 of the more than 3,300 FBS scholarship players who entered the portal have signed with the new school, according to Sports Source Analytics and Track and Football. More than 450 are still in the portal and can sign with the school until classes begin in the fall.
So a lot of times everybody says, I don't enter the portal, you're going to be lost. Again, I just, what I hate is arguments that are not in good faith. The data shows you that that's not true. You have a better chance of finding somewhere. Now, you may not go where you want to go, but you may not have should have been there in the first place. The data shows you that the portal works. They use it more. Most of these kids are placed in the portal. I remember a guy, Andrew Henry Kennan, is probably winning in life right now. HK was asked to not come back and got a full scholarship. Got his money. That's how they used to do. That's how they used to do it. Like there were people who quit every day.
That's a great deal.
A great deal. Our full scholarship was $1,600. Imagine getting $1,600 a month, getting your school paid for, getting your books and tuition,
and not
having to go to practice. He lost weight, joined a frat, like lived the fucking college experience.
His brain is healthy. He's good.
Like had no major injuries. But blow that up again. I don't think people realize what this is actually saying. Like, and I love how fuck the percentages for a second. They put numbers. 399 people are 399 people were stuck in the portal last year. Not thousands. Because they'll tell you how many people entered the transfer portal, but they won't tell you how many came out. 399, less than 400 people were stuck in the transfer portal. Not everybody, just a couple hundred. Right now, there's 450 something available. Not thousands. Now, it would suck to be one of those people, but that's telling you something. If I'm one of the 400 people, I'm either not really making a great decision in life, or I'm just like, maybe I'm not that good. And that's okay. Sometimes we got to figure that out. This is the safest way to figure out that you're not that good. The quicker you figure that out, the better your life will be. Makes it easier to transition into other things. But like narratives. People who have never accomplished anything in life want to be jealous and want to encourage other people to never accomplish anything in life. So I need to tear you down and make you feel like you're not successful because I'm not. Get in the portal if you want and become a loser like me. Now, the numbers don't back what you suggest. And I know in today's climate that's very difficult to ingest because we want to feel. I feel like it's like this is right, or I feel like this is wrong. Fuck your feelings. Right is right, wrong. Right, the numbers say it.
We got some updates coming from Nebraska. So we have an update on the Nebraska CSC arbitration. A hearing has been scheduled for Tuesday. Now, just to refresh you guys, there was 18 Nebraska football players represented by Hush Blackwell and supported by the school will argue that $1 million plus in rejected NI deals should be permitted. So this is the first big challenge against the CSC's NIL Go Clearinghouse and stands to set precedent in the way in which it polices athlete NIL deals, which directly impacts how much schools can pay over the cap. A ruling for the CSC paves the way for continuation of strict policies that may cost athletes millions in compensation guaranteed by schools or risk their eligibility. Athletes who have accepted cash as part of rejected NIL deals must return the money or be deemed ineligible. A ruling for the players paves the way for a looser policy on a third party, quote, warehousing athlete rights, the act of buying rights but not immediately using those rights, and will potentially permit more cash to flow to athletes from a school's multimedia rights partners.
Again, tied up in legal. I'm not giving that money back. Like, just because you don't like the deal, who determines market value? Who determines, like, you can't tell me what my name, image, and likeness is worth. And I think that's where the real issue comes in. All of this could have been avoided if they would have just made student athletes employees. But there's a fear. We can get into numerous reasons why there's a fear, but there is a fear nonetheless. And the quicker we admit that none of this has to do with the well-being of athletes, the quicker we can actually get to the real stuff. And once you really kind of unpack it, you start to realize how dumb some of this shit is. And again, it can all be a lot more simple than what they're making it.
Speaking of people making it more simple than what it really is, we have Mr. Good Old Nick Saban talking on Good Old Paul Feinbaum's podcast. And Nick Saban calls for an equilibrium among college football teams spending. One team shouldn't have a $40 million roster, and another team only have a $5 million roster. And they're out there playing each other. There should be some kind of every league, NFL, basketball, hockey, they all have a salary cap or something that creates parity in the league so everybody has an equal opportunity to win. It should be noted that pro sports salary caps are part of collective bargaining agreements between players' unions and the leagues, which, if adopted in college sports, would involve players, like you said, James, as employees, something the NCAA and conferences have resisted. I don't understand when Nick Saban speaks as if he's like new to this, and I'm just kind of confused, James. I don't know if you agree with those sentiments, but I'm sure he knew this already before he said that, and I'm just.
It's two things I have to believe in order to understand where he's coming from. I have to believe he's stupid, which I don't, or that he's naive, which he's not. You know what? Because the logic is flawed. Let's flesh this out. One team shouldn't have a $40 million roster and another team have a $5 million roster. Let's say I concede to that. One team shouldn't have a $15 million a year coach and another team have a $5 million a year coach. That's not fair. One team shouldn't have a $180 million indoor practice facility and the other team have a $5 million practice facility. One team shouldn't have, it's ironic right now. Ask Nick Saban if he believes in socialism. And you know what he's going to tell you? No. He's going to tell you capitalism is the reason why America is exceptional, except for when everybody gets to participate in it. You want socialism? Well, like the rich white men love the NFL. The NFL is socialism. Everybody gets the exact same piece regardless. And it works. Not as a whole. It shouldn't. Hear me what I'm saying. I don't believe in socialism as a whole concept. But there are times I believe America is not a capitalistic construct. It is a capitalism, socialism hodgepodge. Right. There are places where it does work. There are also places where you do need to let the market dictate the terms. Socialism, as long as it's negotiated, is fine. Which, again, that goes back to the CBA. Guys are agreeing upon a particular set of terms in which they want to render their employment. But everybody cheats in football. There's never been a salary cap, but players have always been paid. You want it to be one way, but it's not. It has to be fair to everybody. And they're not interested in it being fair to everybody. They're only interested in having an advantage, which is, again, the beauty of competition. If the battlefield is even, I've done a piss poor job of preparing the battlefield. That is a Marine term. And I just love when I see guys like Kim. I love when I hear guys like Tommy Tuberville. I really love Bruce Pearl. Bruce Pearl might actually be stupid. I actually believe he's dumb. It's everybody else's fault and it's entitlement, except for when there's actual facts that we can put in front of people. The same people will blame a political party for a company that's never received a profit in the last decade for going under because they didn't get bought by another company that hasn't had a profit in 6 years and that's operating in a negative because oil prices, because the price of gas jumped up $2 per gallon and they couldn't afford it. And they tell you I couldn't afford it. That's what happens with this shit. I'm not afraid for the future. I'm afraid of the present because the people who are running it are going to crash us and burn us because of spite. And because they don't want to be innovative, and because they don't want to, because progression feels like oppression when the world was designed for you. Get over yourself and make bread. Like, you keep fighting dumb shit. Sorry, it just doesn't make any sense.
Sorry about that. We got some more news coming from college football as we get closer to the NFL about Brennan Sorsby, James. So we got some news coming from Brennan Sorsby, and it's looking like it's getting worse and worse. So sources who have reviewed the betting data have found that dating back to 2022, Brennan Sorsby placed more than 10,000 wagers and at one point averaged 20 bets per day. And we got some other posts as well regarding this, and it is not good. According to Adam Schefter, he is under NCAA investigation, as we covered last week, and he has also retained the noted lawyer Jeffrey Kessler to try to regain his college eligibility. Sources tell Schefter and Pete Thamel. If Sorsby and Kessler are unsuccessful in finding a path to eligibility, declaring for the NFL's supplemental draft then would become an option. Sorsby would have until June 30th to declare for the supplemental draft, excuse me. And we actually have some more news. I saw that you reposted this as well, James, right here, giving some background on the case as well with Sorsby. So I'm going to read around the main parts so we can see it right here. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm going to blow this up for you right here. And let's take a look at it as well. So let's take a look at the overall landscape of the debacle between Sorsby and University of Cincinnati. So the first level is the contract. Cincinnati's agreement with Sorsby is formally a license for his NIL rights. That's the only legal vehicle that House versus NCAA settlement preserved for the direct school to athlete payment. The settlement let schools pay athletes up to that 20.5 number per year, but only if the payment is structured as compensation for NIL, not for athletic performances, not pay for play, not for employment. Shocking. Licensing fees. The actual UC Sorsby agreement, as Sorsby motion documents, is structurally an employment contract. It required him to maintain eligibility. It required him to meet football programs' physical fitness standards. It required medical clearance for athletic activities. It made his participation in the football program the material inducement for the entire arrangement. Sounds like employment verbiage right there. Monthly payments approximately doubled during the football season. Payments stopped when he stopped playing. UC retained the right to terminate based on his failure to meet football program requirements. As Heitner puts it in volume 182, this wasn't an NIL licensing deal. This was an employment contract dressed up to comply with the NCAA rules. So Sorsby motion attacks all three, and the first two attacks are the kind of arguments that don't require the judge to feel any particular way about college sports. To credit, Ohio's right of publicity statute caps statutory damages for unauthorized commercial use of a person's persona at between 2,500 and 10 racks. Ohio's own legal default for the value of misappropriated NIL is, in other words, between roughly 2 1/3 and 4/10% of 1 million in UC is demanding. UC paid Sorsby $875,800 over the one season he completed under the agreement. UC is demanding $1 million as compensation for what it lost when Sorsby exercised a transfer right every NCAA athlete has. The damages clause demands more than UC itself paid out under the contract. And then there's the third level fact that makes the whole thing look like what it is. UC offered to waive the 1 million liquidated damages claim entirely if Sorsby entered the draft instead of transferring to a competing school. The damages clause, in other words, was not designed to compensate UC for the loss of a licensee. It was designed to prevent Sorsby from joining a rival. That's a textbook definition of unenforceable penalty. But Mike McCain reads the case as potentially something bigger. So he's framing that Sorsby motion is positioned to be cited even before Judge Barrett rules in future court and administrative agency filings on the question of whether college athletes are employees. And yeah, that was pretty much the main points of this as well. And then we have this as well. Sooner or later, the arguments made here by Sorsby counsel will be ruled on by a court, and depending on the outcome, it could completely upend the current college athlete NIL compensation model. It would be better to just admit what the athletes are really
being paid for. This makes me question how smart people are. People assume lawyers are smart because you gotta go through a lot of school. And you do gotta go through a lot of steps. And that's not there. I know tons of smart lawyers. But this lacks common sense. Like, you can read this and it's like everything that they said they didn't want it to be, they put in contract. And then tried to threaten to sue him. And it's like if I'm another university and I'm like, you do know if you go to court and you lose, this fucks it up for all of us. Just take the L. This is the woman that got cheated on that tells the world, you embarrassed me because you cheated on me. But nobody knew. Nobody would have known if you'd have just shut the fuck up and took your L in silence. Unless you are, what's the whole name? But the lady who was a writer, she was with the football coach. Unless you're her husband and you have all the means to be able to make everybody's life a living hell. You don't have the means right now. So you should have just let this walk. But he's got 2 cases that are going to change a lot of different things. But going back to his initial thing for gambling, I really think his camp is the one putting out all of this stuff. Because if they can prove that this was like a medical, this was a disease, a sickness, then he could probably get some leniency as long as he's going, he's getting help, right? I believe that, didn't they say he had went into rehab?
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm.
So if they could try to make this like alcoholism or something like that, then he might be able to play, and it might be a redemption arc. And either way, they're going to have to prove that this shit isn't happening anyway, because he go to the NFL, you can't gamble. And that's a lot, man. He got I don't know what thrill he got from that, but I don't really believe in any of those things. If I'm being completely frank, I believe there are people who do have a propensity to be able to do certain things, but I don't believe it's as prevalent as what a lot of people say. Unless it's chemical, then I do believe it.
We got some more news right quick. We got a lot of litigation to discuss because according to winter sports law, he said the change to NCAA bylaws, which allows schools to not enter athletes into the portal if a rev share agreement releases a school from the obligation, hasn't gotten enough attention. So, James, I want to ask you one question, and it's based around this statement. Schools can now essentially prevent athletes from engaging with other schools during the portal. Man, this is a heavy change. He said it hasn't gotten talked about enough. Have you seen this circulating your group chats, the sports sports media world, and what do you think about the statement made by Mitt Winter of Winter Sports Law? Oh, my bad. I did not know. Sorry about that. I did not know it wasn't shared with you guys on the screen. There we go. Sorry about that.
I mean, if you're gonna do that, there needs to be a tampering window. That's what the NFL does to like kind of counteract this stuff. But like nobody, again, we want to try to say we're preparing kids for life, right? How many people? I've never done this before, so I've never had a real job. For those of you guys who have had a real job, if you don't mind putting in the chat, did you wait until you quit your job to go find another job? Because they got to add a tampering window. Because it's just that's not fair. Because I've never heard it. I know some of y'all are right now applying for jobs right now while you're listening to this. Grant House puts this up. If athletes are allowed to generate value in a market for a market, they should be allowed to move within it. No one in America quits their jobs without another lined up, except for student athletes. Now, schools can block them from even talking to other programs unless it benefits the school first. No interviews, no leverage, no market. We don't call that structure in any other industry. We call it manipulation of power and control. Now, if a kid chooses to do something what we would consider honorable, God bless them. But to dictate it is again, people admit every day how bad American slavery is by not understanding what slavery overall as a general means. Because every time you use that word, they only attribute it to American slavery. But I'm sorry. By definition, that's what that is. No whips and chains. Mental chains. Legal chains. No whips. And again, that's a choice. But the thing is that what ends up happening is we have this land that has laws. Now, a lot of people, just for a win, will elect people who will take away freedoms of other people because they don't feel like it affects them until later on that case law is used as precedent to affect them. So just remember, everything that they're doing to these student athletes are going to eventually be done to your people, or maybe even you. And a lot of times it just feels like it's under the guise of it's painted, oh, this is just this. But you don't realize that the cool thing about law is that they use other legal cases as precedent to prove other cases. I don't know if you're talking or not, Jaden, but you might be muted.
My bad. I did not know if you were going to keep talking or not, but you wrapped it up perfectly. And yeah, I think a lot of this is new to us. Well, not really new to you guys, especially former athletes, but new to the general public of sports fans in terms of seeing this information, get more of a behind the scenes look at the financials, especially with this new NIL landscape. So it's interesting to be a part of this new exposure of this topic. So yeah, we're going to try and keep you guys updated with this wide array of NIL news, especially, but hopefully you guys have been enjoying this. And we just got one more thing to wrap up this college football segment with before we get into the NFL. And James, it looks like Miami fans And I guess FSU fans are excited about a new partnership because it looks like the CW and ESPN have struck a partnership, James. So I'm going to share this with you guys so they can see. CW and ESPN announced a partnership that will allow people to stream games airing on the CW through the ESPN app. Notable news for fans of ACC, Pac-12, and Mountain West teams who will have more access to the games on the CW this fall. So, man, hopefully FSU don't get a lot of CW games, but I mean,
CW is where it's like a trap.
Yeah.
Nothing good happens with games on the CW. It's always weird.
So are you technically on ESPN if you're on CW now with this announcement? So I don't know if you're going on that technicality, but yeah, this is good news for all jokes aside for fans of ACC and Pac-12 and Mountain West specifically, though. So, yep, just some news for you guys up there. Before we get into the NFL, we're going to start with the Jaguars, the home teams, because we got some jerseys to discuss. So let's look at some numbers, James, because we got some number updates for the Jaguars right here. We wanted to make sure to discuss with you guys. So you got Antonio Johnson 6, Jerry Jones going from 22 to 4, Monteric Brown, aka Buster 1, LeQuint 5, Cameron Silman Craig 42. Got some more as well that we just discussed. And then we got the rookies as well right here. The rookies, you got CJ Williams, 18, Josh Cameron, 19, Jalen Husky, 22. Super excited for him. Parker Hughes, 53, Zach Durfee, 58, Emmanuel Pregnon, 74, Nate B, 87, Tanner K, 89, Wesley Williams, 90, Albert Regas, 98. And then you have your UDFAs, aka undrafted free agents, at the bottom as well with their respective numbers. And just wanted to give you guys updates on that, while Jay Fowler from ESPN gave his insight about the Jaguars draft. So we got it right here for you guys. And let's see if James agrees, disagrees with Jay Fowler's description right here. So we're going to see if James disagrees or agrees with Jeremy. The Jaguars made waves by selecting the Texas A&M tight end Nate B with number 56, igniting a tight end run earlier than expected. 4 tight ends went in the next 17 picks. B was ESPN's number 13 ranked tight end. Was this a reach? Sort of, but perhaps not as much as perceived. Realistically, B entered the draft thinking he would go late in day 2, early in day 3. So let's say in the 3rd or 4th rounds, but was notified in the process that multiple teams listed him as their top blocking tight end. He believed Denver was high on him and was considered a viable option in the early 4th. Either way, B had no idea he would be a Jag. In fact, Jacksonville brass spoke with B's reps early in the draft week and asked about other players, not even his player. For better or worse, Jacksonville is going to do this their way. They are going to pick the players they want. Perception be damned, said one veteran NFL player agent, anonymous, of course.
I mean, yeah, when you come out the gate swinging like that and you do what you want to do with the draft picks, they're picking again depth over desperation. Only real critique I would have had is get Anthony Hill. The linebackers that you wanted were gone. There was nobody else. Like you went for what you wanted. I can't really cry about that. I won't cry about that.
Would have loved to see Hill in that Jaguars teal uniform as well, but we are swinging for the home runs with Gladstone and company, and I'm trusting the vision that he has so far. So can't wait to see it. And we got a "Do you feel old yet" moment, James, right here, because Man, full circle moment for Jacksonville Jaguars fans out there, because class of 2027 running back Deuce Jones-Drew, the son of Maurice Jones-Drew, Jags legend, has committed to UCLA just like his dad. 5'8", 185-pound running back, 2 inches taller than his dad, chose the Bruins over Cal, SMU, and Arizona. He's the son of former UCLA and NFL running back Maurice Jones-Drew,
2
legendary
inches taller and
Jaguar.
40 pounds lighter. Maybe 50.
Man,
Mojo was a bowling ball, though. But you know, I like this. Like, keep it up. Like get those guys in. It's easy to recruit. Like, it helps with nostalgia. Helps jumpstart recruit. Keep your former players happy. And now you got NFL eyes on you because Mojo covers the NFL. So smart.
I think he is a 3-star running back prospect, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So, yep, 3-star, come into UCLA just like his pops. And James, we got some confusion as Jaguar fans because Travis Hunter was on a stream and got clipped up saying or disputing the reports about him only playing cornerback next season, and says to, quote, stop listening to the media, unquote, while calling out people in the situation. And James, he said, stop listening to the media about his usage in terms of position for this upcoming season, man. Do you think this was just a simple mistake, or even not a mistake at all? And what do you think this does for the fans wondering how Travis is going to come out on that field this upcoming season?
I think Travis is just trying to save face. He wants to play both ways, but at the end of the day, it's not his decision. Like, bro, like, you got to save jits from themselves sometimes. But, like, he's not built. He doesn't have the frame built for it, no matter what people want to believe.
Yeah, I definitely think, like you said, James. I mean, we saw in college he had a motor, but it's just the eye test and his sheer frame. Like you said, it doesn't look like it'll translate well with the recovery, with the wear and tear. Just from that picture alone, just yeah, like you said, the frame is definitely one of those things. So I'm glad that you mentioned that for everybody. And since we're on the Jaguars topic, this is Jaguars-esque because we are showing some love to somebody who has been in the league for 19 seasons, James, and that is former Jaguar Calais Campbell, because Calais Campbell is signing a 1-year deal with the Baltimore Ravens. He was actually a part of that Baltimore Ravens squad. He played there from 2020 to 2022. So he's gotten a chance to witness the greatness of Lamar Jackson. And yeah, James, he is keeping on. So we got him right here. 6-time Pro Bowl defensive edge Calais Campbell. Mentioned he did play 2020, 2022. Got that 1-year deal. He'll be 40 this year on September 1st, and this will be his 19th NFL season. So he actually is in the top of the top when it comes to most NFL seasons among defensive linemen of all time. With his 19 with this year, he'll tie Bruce Smith and only be one behind Jim Marshall. Legendary names on this list. But James, Calais is getting that check, man. One more season for Calais, man. 40 years old in September. Still younger than Aaron Rodgers, though.
That's crazy. Like, just shows like how well he takes care of his body. Just a great guy. Just a great human. Like, it's big, man. Pause. Like, I still remember like first meeting him. I'm like, yo, you got to back the fuck away from me because like I'm uncomfortable. But he's the only Walter Payton Man of the Year that I actually enjoy playing football. Like we got another guy and he didn't make a play. This guy got it, but like he was part of Saxonville, so I love it. Those other guys, man, I don't care if you're a great person. I need you to be a good football player. But he does both. He embodies both. So kudos to that.
The Jaguars' least like fan or least like player has gotten an extension, James. I said that on purpose because that's something we're going to come back to later on in the show. So we're going to put a quick pin in it. But for now, James, Texans Pro Bowl linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair have agreed to terms on a 3-year, $54 million extension, close to the top of the linebacker market in a deal done ahead of what would have been a contract year for Al-Shaair. So, James, the Texans are locking down that defense. And I am super scared for this upcoming season. I don't know about you, but that Texans defense is really, really, really scary. This extension just sparked that defense back into my mind with their additions, with Reed Blankenship, with the best edge duo in the National Football League. Just sucks to be in their division. That's all, man. Oof.
That man got that Gesundheit name. El Aziz. It's like a chew. It's a Gesundheit name and a name where they're definitely gonna make you run through airport security a few times. Terrible person, but great on the field. So like that's all you need, man. But like at the end of the day, like still ain't beating the Jags. But that was he's nice. He's nice. I remember when he hit Trevor.
Yes, he did injure Trevor Lawrence. That was him. It was him. It was that exact same guy we just put on the screen. He did injure Trevor Lawrence. And yeah, we'll come back to that least like player by the Jags fan base in a little bit. But before we do, James, sad to see for some fans, for some people out there, George Pickens officially signed his 2026 franchise tag. Now, this means he won't be getting that crazy payday like some receivers like CeeDee Lamb, his teammate, gets. But George Pickens has officially signed his 2026 franchise tag. He was second team All-Pro, Pro Bowl and offensive MVP, 93 catches, 1,429 yards, 9 TDs. And did that all in his first year in Dallas. He signs at $27.3 million tag. James, what are your thoughts on the franchise tag, especially for a player like George Pickens? And want to put an asterisk that this is Jerry Jones. This is Jerry's world as well. So that definitely will play a part in the franchise tag situation.
I think Jerry will end up paying him. And I think one of the things that Jerry's racist, okay? Let me rephrase that. Actually, no, I won't. Because just because you do right by certain black people, I had to explain this to somebody on Twitter. It's like, George Wallace has a black best friend, but he still says segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. Like, that doesn't change anything. But one thing I will say that Jerry does do, he does take care of people long-term who have been good to the Dallas Cowboys. Like Bill Bates, I coached his son, Dylan, and all those. Like he takes, like, they're like adopted in there. He like they get, like, when they're 16 years old, they get luggage. Like they can fly on the private jet to come back to any Cowboy games. Like, I've seen him. Like, I've heard stories of players being truly taken care of by Jerry Jones. Like, he doesn't see you. Like, that's when he doesn't see color. He sees fine. but he likes that property. Like Django Unchained, like you couldn't tell. One Leo plays such a great role. Was it Mr. Candy or whatever? I forgot his name was it? He played such like he really did treat Samuel L. Jackson's character pretty good.
Yeah.
But he didn't respect Django.
No. Or Big John, his fighter.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, it's one, like, one time doesn't make you like one bad event doesn't make you bad or good.
True.
Consistent though, like a consistent level of he was there. Little Rock 9, he was there.
He was there. That picture is so funny.
Like it's just crazy. Like he's just sitting there for years and nobody said, yo, there's Jerry. Like imagine like no, he's not, but you always around racist shit. Eventually we gotta like, hey, maybe, yeah, okay, you know what? Then I got told, okay. Maybe it's not. But can you understand why other people might think he is?
After that picture.
Like that might be your man's, but do you understand why others might think that? But I think Jerry will take care of NFL YoungBoy because he's also done it too. He's had crazy ass players before.
He just has to measure his stuff.
Pac-Man Jones. He got him a babysitter. Pac-Man Jones was a batshit crazy. And he took care of him. Now, Pac-Man kind of feels some kind of way about some of that shit, but like Pac-Man, come on, dog.
Remember what he said to Jamie Foxx?
What? Oh man, that like again. I don't know. Is he gay? I don't know. I don't really know. But what I do know is he's on. He knows the size of a man's penis.
Right.
He just threw it out there. Maybe he's not. I know this though. I don't know the size of other people's penises. Hey, I have a hard time keeping up with my own dick. Let alone other people, but that's his, property. Maybe that's something that he's found makes people better football players or something. I don't know. It's wild.
Man, with Jerry, all I hear is criticize, man. Legendary movie, man. Shout out Django. Legendary movie. James, can you believe former Eagles QB Nick Foles gave his blessing for first round draft pick Mekhi Lemon to wear the number 9? Yes, Mekhi Lemon is wearing number 9 in Philly. He did get scooped up by the Philadelphia Eagles while on the phone with the Pittsburgh Steelers at the draft in Pittsburgh. Eagles swooped in courtesy of Howie. Got the job done. It looks like Lemon will be rocking 9. James, you look like you confused a little bit.
Was the number retired?
I don't think so. Let me see. I think
I know
think
Jerry
it's the
knows Nick
first
Foles'
one.
size. You know what they called him here?
Who?
They called him Big Dick Nick. That's what they call him.
Oh, I think I remember that. Oh yeah, it looks like Nick Foles was the last person to wear it 2012 to 2018, or during his second stint with the team 2017 to 2018. And yeah, that was the last time somebody wore number 9 in Eagles history. Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, so just wanted to share that with you. Mekhi Lemon was getting a lot of flack during his combine podium interviews and everything like that, but it looks
So that's
like
the one who code switched.
Yes, the wide receiver from USC. Yep, that's him.
Yeah, this is why it's so intertwined into our. I just read something that racism is so American that when you protest something, they think you're protesting America. Like that's the craziest shit. Like everybody fucking code switches. I promise you, I don't understand why it's a problem with him. Do you think it's what makes it fun? Like nobody just talks like this all the time. I wish more people didn't code switch, but people do. So, like, can he catch a fucking football? And can he score? Talk however you want to talk. I'm not asking him to be no damn Rhodes Scholar. Go ahead, Jaden.
Sorry about that, but we got some quick news to get through before we get to our big games BS section. We got some topics that we're gonna kind of shoot past through because these are, especially this one, is a quick reaction because James, we got a retirement to discuss in the NFL, and that is Justin Simmons, four-time All-Pro safety from the Denver Broncos. Justin Simmons announced his retirement after 9 NFL seasons. Safety number 31, was a captain, was a killer for that Denver Broncos squad, and looks like he is retiring from the NFL. So safe retirement, happy retirement for my guy Justin Simmons. But James, what I really wanted to bring to the chat's attention is this post we have right here about Mr. Caden Proctor from Ari Meroff. So, according to the Dolphins GM Eric Sullivan, he said on the Joe Rose show that the team plans to have number 12 overall pick Caden Proctor play left guard this season, making him switch from tackle, where he played primarily in college, to left guard. So, James, many were confused why you would have a number 12 pick and choose a left guard at that. And at that, somebody who is transitioning from tackle to guard. Do you agree with those sentiments? And what are your thoughts on this switch for Proctor and Proctor as a prospect?
You drafted a guy who everybody believed was a little bit of a reach anyway. And you are making him even more of a gamble because you're switching him from what his natural position is to another position, a position of which you would never draft in the first round, which is a guard. None of this makes any sense.
Dolphins are hopeful that his size and frame can jam up those tackles, not trying to consume too much of those edges for Proctor. Proctor, I might add, has a crazy frame. Pulling up his draft profile right now, he stands at 6'6" and 5/8, 352 pounds as well. So big guy, and yes, was a offensive tackle. It's going to make that transition. And sorry for my Dolphins fans. Know you guys are probably furious with this pick and with this switcheroo, if you will. So, going to move on into the QB battle in Cleveland, James. Deshaun Watts' name is seeping into more and more sports and media posts as of late for the right reasons. Let's just say football related reasons. And we got some news that Deshaun Watson emerged from minicamp with an early lead over Shadur Sanders in the QB competition and has the inside track to be named QB1. Todd Monken, the new head coach, hopes to declare or at least identify his QB by the end of mandatory minicamp, which is June 9th through the 11th. For anybody who is shocked that this may be the case, they are still paying Deshaun that crazy contract in Cleveland. So I would definitely want to start the quarterback I am paying crazy amount of money to. Let me pull up the specifics. He did get that fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract with the Browns with a $44,965,000 signing bonus. One of the greatest fleeces in sports history. But just want to give you guys an update on that Cleveland sports QB showdown, James.
Well, just gotta hope he doesn't get his booty rubbed by no Boston Richie or whatever it is that he got going on.
Man, that is something. I'm
Nut
not gonna
ass freak
talk about
bull.
it. Don't want to talk about it, man. Don't want to talk about it.
Yes.
That's the dude from Tallahassee, man.
No one. Whoa.
He's from Tallahassee.
He's from Quincy. He's from
Oh,
Quincy. And he
wow.
lived.
Fake.
And he's
You're
from
fake.
He's
You're
from
fake.
Quincy, and he lived in
You're fake.
Holton Street. That is 2502. That is not a Tallahassee thing. I don't know what's going on over in that. Boo. Like, what is the Black Panther? We do not do that over here. We do not, Rockbrook, we do not do that around here. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with him. Nut ass freak bull. That's what he is, man.
It was all good when he was making songs like Fine Shit and One Hit Wonder.
I don't know. I only know the one song, "Help Me." Oh my god, they made a spoof to it.
Oh, you
It
saw
is
that too?
fucking hilarious.
Was it Peg Me? Was it
Yeah,
that?
Peg
Yeah,
Me.
Yeah.
Won't you peg me? And then he took the song. He made a song that made it worse.
Oh.
That bitch you weird, bitch you weird, bitch you weird. I'm like, yo, he could have kept that, dog. Like, you just probably should have just. Sometimes, like, you just got to be quiet and then drop a banger.
You throw stones in a glass.
And the funny thing is, I'm sorry about it. Can I ask the thing that's confusing about women today? All the weird shit that she did, right? She did it willingly. We're not mad that she was 17 when they first started dating.
Oh, damn.
And he was like 25 or some shit.
Crazy.
Like, that's what we should be really attacking.
Crazy.
It's the statutory shit. But technically, grape is when penetration happens. So
he was just hanging with.
Technically, she's the one who kind of graped him.
Oh, goodness.
So like,
so,
because there's no way, because when you're in a position of domination, you can't say that you were forced to do anything.
He grabbed my wrist.
There's no way you can force somebody to do that to you.
Don't you let it go.
Like, that's wild, man.
I can't even. Oh no.
Hey, I can't even say the song. It's like when, like, I didn't like Lifestyle for a while because I didn't know what Young Thug was, what kind of lifestyle he was portraying. He was saying some wild shit. Like, live this. No, I've done nothing to live that lifestyle. The community, no offense to the community, just not my lifestyle. But then, like, when he's like, I'm gonna get my get back, even if I get, like, trust me. Like, he's talking about some of them songs, and one of them, like, some of them things in that song, he said a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, he's a taker.
Shit. Oh, Lord. Anyways, my bad. Let's go on to the next thing.
These are the top 10 best-selling NFL rookie jerseys so far. Caleb Downs from Dallas. Number 2, the Rodriguezes in Miami popped out for second round pick Jacob Rodriguez. Malachi Lawrence, UCF in the building. Drew Alar, surprising name. Fernando Mendoza, number 5. Chris Johnson, Miami. Jeremiah Love, Arizona. Caleb Lomu, you got with the Patriots. You got Mr. Dylan T from Oregon, now in Chicago. Then you got David Bailey from the New York Jets to round out your rookie list. Definitely surprising with Drew Alar, but it's kind of not surprising. Did go to Penn State. Now he's at Pittsburgh. And yeah, Jacob Rodriguez as well. Some day 2 guys in the mix. So yeah, just wanted to update you guys with that. And we are actually back to what I wanted to talk about earlier with the Jags least liked player being Aziz. And I wanted to contrast it with this one because they had Derrick Henry according to All Sport Culture, but I think Aziz took the throne from Derrick Henry because Derrick Henry not on the Titans no more, not on the rival team, a division rival squad. But I want to put Aziz's name on this list instead of Derrick Henry. James, want to know if that would be fitting for the Jaguars fan base's most hated player for what he did to Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, most people will probably say they just can't remember his name.
Right.
Like we know who Aziz is.
Right.
But like if you went, but and even if you said like the guy who hit Trevor Lawrence, like, oh yeah, I hate that guy for the Texans. But like he doesn't have one of those names that just roll off your tongue. Derrick Henry, we just hate because he was with the Titans, and then like he's from Yulee. So well, you only had the one game. Derrick, they saw twice a year, and I don't think, and they just couldn't beat him. Not anymore. It's not a rivalry when you always have the upper hand.
Yeah.
They made Dan Marino retire. Not Dan Marino. Oh no, they did. No, who was it that they made? They did make Dan Marino retire, but there was a pit. They whooped up on Pittsburgh during that time. I'm trying to think who the Jags. Aziz would have to be the guy because right now the Texans is a bigger rivalry than the Titans.
Yeah, some other notable names. You have Deshaun Watson for the Browns. Their own starting QB is their most hated player. Does make sense. Aaron Rodgers for the Bears completely makes sense. Like Patrick Mahomes for the Bills. Marshawn Lattimore for the Bucks. Patrick Mahomes for the AFC West Chiefs as well. Jalen Hurts for the Commanders, Josh Allen for the Dolphins, Dak for the Eagles, and then Dak for the Giants as well. Russell Wilson for the 49ers, Ndamukong Suh for the Packers, Cam Jordan for the Panthers, Eli Manning for the Patriots, no surprise. Travis Kelce, Raiders, Jimmy G, LA, Aaron Rodgers, Minnesota, Daniel F. For the Ravens, Anthony Bradford, Seahawks, Lamar, Steelers, Mike Evans, Saints, Derrick Henry, Texans, and Lamar Jackson for the Titans. What do you think about this list, James? I think it's pretty accurate in terms of how list Twitter usually goes. Not a bad list.
Why is Trash Josh like the Cardinals don't like him? He didn't even do anything for them. They got rid of my guy before he even had a chance.
Yep. So this is just a quick list I wanted to share with you guys. And James, you can say, hey, I'm a youngin. I didn't know this. You probably knew this, but I never knew that the Carolina Panthers logo is supposed to resemble the North and South Carolina borders. Now, I don't know if you've heard this before. I don't know if you know if this is true, if you can verify it, but it's been going viral on social media. And a lot of people like myself did not know this. It has 890,000 views, but somebody said the logo is supposed to resemble the North and South Carolina outlines. You can see it right here. But James, have you heard this before? 1 and 2. Man, yeah, I guess that's just my first question. I'm just shocked, honestly, when I first saw
I
this.
can't see it. You would have had if you didn't tell me that, I would not have known. Because one, there are ways that they could have fit that in more, but like I'm looking at major gaps right here. In that, yeah, you can have that one. Yeah, that's just one of those things. Where that's a revisionist history. That's lean with it, rock with it. See, I was just dancing. We was talking about lean with it and rock with it. Come on, dog. It's a fucking dance song. You ain't talking about drinking lean and making rocks and cooking crack in that song.
I think it was just one part of one person's verse.
Maybe even that. Like, yeah, but like you just
and that's just hip hop. You gonna rap about guns and drugs in every song.
Yeah, but like, you know, it wasn't like it was like you don't see any of that shit with when you just like I just think sometimes people just take liberties. But yeah, I don't believe that shit. Not for 1 second.
If we have any Browns fans in the stream, welcome. And this is just one more reason why we take your organization as a joke, because they decided, James, to hire somebody for their staff that the Jags
Oh,
had some familiarity with, and that is Trent Baalke. So the Browns have added longtime NFL exec Trent Baalke in a consultant-like capacity. A source tells CBS Sports he was most recently the Jags GM from 21 to 24 and was also a GM with the Niners from 11 to 16. He did have some good Kaepernick. He had some crazy teams back then in the 49ers and Jags from 21 to 24. But James,
I want us to realize something. When the 49ers trimmed him, right, they flourished. When the Jags trimmed him, they flourished. Is there like a pattern here? Or am I the only one seeing this? Because like it seems like you got to get rid of this guy and then you'll flourish.
so it looks like the Cleveland Browns will make the playoffs in probably 3 years with this post. So we'll come back 3 years from now and see if the Browns, once they trim the Baalke, if they have that playoff success. Now let's get into our big games BS section for today, where we bring the scope of the convo outside the typical football sports world. And we have our BS or Bustin' food review segment. Can't wait to share it with you all, because this one is kind of crazy. It's a little mix and match combo, if you will, but we got a garlic knot smash burger to show you guys.
Yes.
The bun is the bun is 2 garlic knots, and it also comes with onions as well. So sharing this with you guys. This is the garlic knot double smash burger with caramelized onion and chipotle sauce. Make sure to spam BS if you think this food item looks trash, or spam Bussin' in the chat if you would take down this food item. So gonna share it with you guys and enjoy.
I ain't doing all that though. Mm-hmm. What did they say that sauce was?
Chipotle.
Okay. I don't really need the chipotle sauce. Like you could give me some regular ass ketchup or something else, but like garlic doesn't take away from anything. Garlic knots are delicious. Like this is great. I don't see anything wrong with this. And a good burger is a good burger. I'm that's busting.
James is giving the garlic knot burger a bussin'. So we need to see what y'all think in the chat about this garlic knot burger. Definitely a crazy BS or bussin' one, blending that Italian American cuisine, if you will. But James, we have an OG Wyland segment, and this is going to none other than Mr. Marcellus Wiley. He's had some things about him come out recently that hasn't been the best. So he has more women have come forward claiming former NFL star Mr. Wiley graped them. Yes, graped. So here's some news from a recent WBLS article about the reporting. He is facing 4 new sexual assault allegations from women, including a former ESPN production assistant. The new claim adds to earlier lawsuits that accused him of graping women during his time at Columbia University in 1994. One accuser says Wiley first contacted her when she was 13 after appearing at her school in Buffalo, then allegedly groomed her over time. The same accuser claims he raped her on her 18th birthday after inviting her into a relationship built on gifts, attention, and contact over the years. Another accuser, the former ESPN staffer, says Wiley lured her to a hotel room under the pretense of a meeting and assaulted her there in 2009. The woman's attorney argues Columbia University ignored or buried earlier complaints and allowed Wiley to maintain a public image that made others feel safe around him. Wiley has denied the allegations, and his lawyer said in court filings that he denies committing the alleged wrongdoing. Class action certification hearing is scheduled for May 12th.
Innocent until proven guilty, but this is one of the things that I do not like about Marcellus Wiley or Jason Fatlock. They have so much things to say about anybody else when they get into the news. They're very judgmental. You ain't gonna wrap yourself out of this one. Do you want to? I'm shocked Ryan Clark hasn't said anything yet. Like, you have so much energy. You are a vehicle for distractions and separation. But what you're seeing right now is why if I ever get too down bad, I know exactly what I'm gonna go do. I'm gonna go tap dance for the other side. Tap dance, become a shield. The problem when you do that is that you better not have no skeletons in your closet, because they're gonna find something. And he's a guy who has such a great story. I believe he's from Compton into crack Compton. Went to an Ivy League school, made it to the NFL. Such an intelligent guy. Loves to talk about his story and it puts on these Family Guy like image. And he might be but just it's hard to be a Family Guy when people out here accusing you of things like that. And the grooming part. Hey man, because like, yeah, it's a bit. That's like yes. So even with the rapper from Quincy that we were just talking about, that girl guy was 17. Where the fuck is her mom? But her mama a hot bottom too, though. From what I've been told. From her mom, your mom said it's like the case with Robert. Just as much as he need to be in jail, them parents need to be in damn jail. Why are you 13 years old conversing without parental supervision?
Right.
It's not that my son doesn't have mentors. He doesn't have any female mentors. Now I probably would react. I probably would react differently, but it's just yes, it's hypocritical. We're all hypocritical with that kind of shit. But like, I don't know. Like, why is a man like in this situation with you? Where are your parents? But I just want to know, what is in this young stuff that makes these men keep falling for it? It's like you are sick. Like, Deshaun is a nut ass freak bull, but he was getting rubbed on by women of age that he was paying for the transactions. But like all of this shit with these young girls, man, what the fuck?
I mean, as much as I hold place that Marcellus Wiley could have 100% did this, it's the same that I can fathom in my mind someone set him up. Yeah. So
it's the reason why I don't hey, I wouldn't wish this on nobody.
Right.
Even if I don't like it, because if they could set him up.
Right. Right.
But it goes back to, that's my mindset with everything. If it's happening to poor people, what happens if I become poor? Or what happens when they get done with them? Right. Who are they going to go to next? Like when I see the police busting up the projects and people like, just comply. I'm like, bitch, you're the one who says they'll never take my guns. Bitch, they showing you practice right now. What do you think they're going to do when they're done with them? They're coming for you. They're practicing right now. But like, if Marcellus, I believe that Marcellus could unequivocally do this. The same reason I believe that gay pastor that died some years ago, he was preaching about gay people all the time and about they going to hell. Then we find out that he's a booty bandit. The things that you are so adamantly against are typically the things that you're protecting. You're putting up look at this so that you don't look at me. You're not upstanding and like all those different things because you don't want people to truly look at you. But I do have a problem just with men who, like in it, but also this, I'm not blaming the women, right? But like just there's no meeting that we're gonna have after hours in my hotel room that we can't have downstairs in a hotel lobby. Like, I don't even want you coming by my room just where we're one-on-one because it gives like anything can happen and I don't know. I don't want that. I see what happened with Mike Tyson. Again, to quote the gay thespian from Brooklyn by way of Baltimore School of Arts, it's a lot of real G's doing time because the groupie bit the truth and told a lie. Don't give them an out. Especially when you got kids. But right now, luckily, but the other side that I really, really and truly do not like, because I don't like rapists. I don't like pedophiles. I don't want them around. There is no rehabilitation. If you're telling me, like right now, I know there's a guy who is preaching and shit and doing all this stuff, and he got pedophile charges on him. If heaven's where he's at, then I'm cool with the alternative. It's no rehabilitation for you in that, in my opinion. And you just gotta, I don't know, man. But that's wild though. That's wild, Marcellus. You a wild boy, brother.
Close out the show. Gonna send an RIP to Spirit Airlines, James. Spirit Airlines going out of business. No more flying in Spirit, flying in style. And it looks like the other airlines are jacking up the prices from what I've seen on the internet. I know you're more of a flight aficionado, aficionado more than me. So you probably know more of the inside about this world. But James, Spirit is closing, and man, a lot of affordable flights are not going to be available. And I think 13,000 jobs are lost too, if I'm not mistaken. So 13,000 households and families.
Yeah, that's just a wild overall thing going on, man. I feel really bad for those people. Like, and the fact that it was closed down overnight and it's really something that could be avoidable. When you sit back and you look at the fact that people are making this into something that it really shouldn't be, when it's really just a simple budgeting thing. It's impossible to budget when overnight you saw your prices double. Your price for a brick double. And the CEO clearly stated we went from paying $2.12 per gallon to $4, and we were already behind. It's not a sustainable model, but there are some cool things that we are seeing. Like a guy came in and said that and offered, like, there's a Spirit, let's buy Spirit like thing where it's basically pledging crowdfunding so that you can go out and everybody gets a share in the company. Doesn't matter how much money you put in, you get one vote. But you do get a profit share agreement. But it's going to be like taking the Green Bay Packers model, and I think that's actually really cool. For $45, you can pledge a commitment to buy Spirit Airlines, and I wonder if this is successful. How many more things can we see the people take over, and we can make the changes that we want to see and actively engage in capitalism. So, but I flew a lot of, I've never personally flown Spirit. There's still Frontier. I fly American. I go a lot of places on American. But I've seen the prices are already like through the roof, and I feel bad for the people who are stranded. And if any time we need a government bailout, excuse me, it would be for the people who have already bought their tickets or are stranded right now and that can't get back that flew on Spirit. So I hope they figure out a way to make those people whole. All in all, it's a sad situation, but it is a part of it's a part of capitalism. Something has to die in order for something to be revived and grow. So that's tough.
That's all I had for Monday's show. We did have a lot of good stuff here on this show. So, any last things to discuss to let the fans know about as we wrap up today's program?
Nah, basically that's it. I appreciate everybody for coming out. We got to make sure we like and subscribe to the channel, continue to grow it. Make sure you just push something. We're going to be getting a lot of different things going. We're streaming the Mandarin versus Trinity Christian spring game next week. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Looking for critiques on how to make the broadcast better as we continue to delve into that streaming world. And outside of that, appreciate everybody for chopping it up with me. And we will see you guys next time.